Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The Lions squad is set to be announced on Thursday afternoon. So here is my 36-man squad that I believe has the best chance of going to South Africa and winning the test. This is just my opinion, but as always, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Subscribe if you're new. We're pushing towards 2,000 subscribers. And of course, like the video if you enjoy it. Lots of stuff coming up over the week with the Lions squad announcements. Right, let's get straight into it. So we're going to start with the backs, and what we're going to do is we're going to go through each player, give a quick reason why. It's not in any particular order, so this isn't saying anything about my starting 15. We're just going to go through the names of the 36-man squad. Let's go to it. So starting with the back three options, I first of all have Stuart Hogg of Exeter Chiefs on Scotland. Led Scotland fantastically well during the course of this Six Nations. It's a fantastic threat going forward, and under the high ball is a decent option. And as I said, great leader, shown a lot of ability as a captain, and that's going to be key in South Africa. The next three-back option is Leah Williams playing for Wales and Scarlets. Again, very, very good under the high ball. I think there's going to be a lot of kicking in this tour. Has played in Lions Test before, has played at the highest level in Europe as well. I think he's an absolute no-brainer. Next up, we head over to England. We have Anthony Watson of Bath and England playing some brilliant stuff at the minute for his side, and was one of the shining lights for England in a poor Six Nations. Once again, very experienced at this level and is comfortable playing across that back three, something that's going to be very important for players wanting to go on this tour. Moving towards more of a winger role, I have a few wingers to go through. First of all, I have Johnny May playing for Leicester Tigers and England. This was a tough one. Don't think he's been playing all that well, but in the Six Nations had a couple of nice tries. He's absolutely electric, and if the game gets a little bit open, he's one of the best to be in that position. So Johnny May goes into the squad for myself, alongside Louis Rees-Zammit of Wales. I'm maybe a little bit biased as a Welshman, but I think he's absolutely electric. Backs himself, plays without fear, and has been playing pretty well on a poor Gloucester side, and obviously shone for Wales in the Six Nations. If you're good enough, you're old enough. The next winger, we're sticking in Wales. We have gone with Josh Adams of the Cardiff Blues and Wales, although maybe not on 100% form at the minute. He's one of the best finishers in the world from about 20 to 30 yards. Hasn't played enough rugby for the Cardiff Blues this season, but for Wales has shown his ability to score tries over the last couple of years. And Gatland knows him well and knows how to get the best out of him. So Josh Adams goes into the side for me. Okay, let's move on to the centres then. Who have I got in the centres? Well, starting off, first of all, we have Henry Slade. Henry Slade of Exeter Chiefs and of England, of course, can play the 13 and the 12 role pretty comfortably, and that's something I have looked at during the time I picked these centre options. Got to give a quick shout to George North, who would have been in the mix for this, but with that ACL injury, he's not available. There's a few players that I will mention who are not available. I'll go through them for you, of course, throughout the course of the video. Henry Slade, fantastic player, offers something a little bit different, and once again was one of the shining lights for England in a really poor Six Nations, and playing for one of the best teams in Europe in Exeter. Next up, a bit of a different option. I've gone for Chris Harris of Gloucester and Scotland. Thought he's fantastic for Scotland during the course of the Six Nations defensively. Looks very, very strong with the likes of Dialande going to be playing against him, and and people like that. It's going to be really, really tough and a physical battle, and I think he offers that level of physicality. Although playing for Gloucester, who are struggling, I do think he's a quality player, and I think we are struggling at centre with a couple of players who may be not on form at the minute, but Chris Harris is certainly one of them, so in the team for me. We've got two Irish centres, and I'm pretty sure you'll know who they'll be. First of all, we have Gary Ringrose of Leinster and Ireland. Struggled with injuries this year, but had a very good Six Nations, and his stats were absolutely through the roof. Very experienced for Ireland, very technically so good in my opinion, and I'd love to see him given a go in this Lions tour. The obvious one for the Lions centres is really obvious, is Robbie Henshaw. He's probably one of the best centres in the world at the minute. I will tell you one player for my starting 15, that's Robbie Hanshaw. He has to start in that 12 jersey. What a performance against England in the Six Nations. I think he's one of the best in the world in his position. It's an absolute no-brainer for me. This is where it gets interesting. The fly halves. Who have I picked to wear the 10 jersey? I picked 3 fly halves, and I'll go through them now. First of all is Dan Biggar. Been playing so well for Northampton recently, and played very well for Wales during the course of the Six Nations. I think he's a brilliant goal kicker. Under the high ball is a really good option, and as well loves to get involved physically. Johnny Sexton is my second choice for fly half. The only concern I have over him is his injury record, but I think he's a brilliant goal kicker. I think he's a fantastic territorial kicker, which I think is going to be really important in this test, and he doesn't mind getting involved, and a leader as well. The final fly half I've gone with is Finn Russell. Finn Russell, for me, is an absolute maverick of a player. He has that element of a risk to him, yes, but if you need someone to open the defences, throw that beautiful pass, that 40-yard pass, put a chip in over the top, he is your man. The scrum half positions, and once again, I've gone for 3 scrum halves in this position. Got to give a shout out to Ben Youngs, who would have been in the squad, but has decided not to put himself available after a long season. He's decided to spend time with his family, and you've got to just completely respect that. But the 3 scrum halves go like this. Conor Murray of Munster and Ireland. I think he's been playing himself back into form after a couple of really tough years and a lot of question marks over him. But I think he's back to his best and he's playing some great stuff. Again, the box kicking is going to be important, the territorial game, and I think he's one of the best out there for that. Although it's not the most attractive to watch, I do think it's very, very important. The next scrum half, very, very tough call, this one, but I've gone with Gareth Davis. Probably not in the best form of his life, but Gatland knows him well, knows how to get the best out of him. And also, he's a very good interceptor. He snipes around the breakdown a lot, which when games are tight, you might need someone just to have a go and see what they can do. And I think he will certainly offer that. He's got a good amount of pace as well. Will offer brilliant support lines. I'm putting Gareth Davis into the team. The third scrum half is a really tough one. I was struggling between 2 players, that being Danny Kerr and Thomas Williams, but I have gone with Danny Kerr. Thomas Williams just hasn't played enough rugby, in my opinion. He has been injured since the first game of the Six Nations and hasn't played for the Blues since. Danny Kerr has been playing really well for Harlequins across the course of the season. Hasn't been playing for England, though, but I think Thomas Williams and Danny Kerr are very similar in the way that they play. They're very quick. They love to attack. They love to snipe around. They love to offer support lines. But I just think Danny Kerr's experience puts him above Thomas Williams. So Danny Kerr is going in the squad for me. So we've done my backs. It's now time to move on to the forwards. Of course, if you're enjoying, subscribe, leave a like on the video and get your team in the comments down below. I'll try and reply to every single comment. Right, let's get straight to the forwards. Starting with the front row options. First of all, I've got Wyn Jones of the Scotland and Wales tour. He's one of the best players in this year's Six Nations. He was so good at the breakdown as well and comfortable in the loose, something that's going to be very important in this year's Six Nations. Going with him in that front row, we got Ellis Genge of Leicester and England. Recently for Leicester, especially in Europe, has been putting in massive performances for his side. Against Ulster, he was absolutely incredible, putting them into a Challenge Cup final. He always plays like he's got a point to prove, which is something I love to see. I wouldn't expect him to start, but coming off the bench and being in the squad in general, he's going to drive those levels and he's going to come off the bench and have an incredible impact. Alongside him, a little bit of a veteran of the game, Cian Healy, 33 years old, now playing for Leinster and for Ireland. Recently for Leinster, has been absolutely smashing it in Europe, but also in the Rainbow Cup or the Pro 14, but he's been playing very well. So Cian Healy and that experience as well, he's got to go in the team for myself. 3 hooker options then. Ken Owens is the first one, playing for the Scarlets and Wales. Came for a lot of criticism over the past couple of years, and rightly so. But this Six Nations has been fantastic, absolutely brilliant. The line-out was poor at the start, got a lot better. That's not all down to him, of course, but he does have an impact in that area. And I do think that his work ethic and his work rate around the park against the Springboks is going to be physical, and he's certainly going to be up for it. He's also a leader. He shows a lot of passion. He'll get the team together. I think he'll be a brilliant option to take on the tour. Alongside him, I've gone with Ronan Kelleher of Leinster and Ireland, someone who I think is very, very underrated. He's an absolutely fantastic player around the field, comfortable with ball in hand, very good at the line out. The distribution at the line out of Ireland has always been very good. And of course, our Leinster is a winner. Maybe a little bit less experienced than the others who could have been on the list, but I think he certainly has to go on this tour. And the final hooker, it's an interesting one. I've gone with Luke Cowan-Dickie, England and Exeter hooker. Probably England's first choice over Jamie George. Now, that's really the main reason why I've taken this guy instead of Jamie George. I think he's a fantastic scrummager, brilliant at the line out, comfortable with ball in hand as well, and offers a little bit at the breakdown, which is going to be key in this one. And then the final 3 props for me are going to have to be these 3. Carl Sinclair, first of all, of Bristol and England. The only issue I have with Sinclair is his hot-headedness. He needs to learn to keep his head, but hopefully the experienced players around him will help him to do that, and Gatland will recognise those signs if he needs to take him off or not bring him off the bench. Alongside him, Furlong 100% has to go, probably one of the form props in the world right now. And if you can step Finn Russell like he did, he has to be in the team for me. But on a serious note, been playing really well for Leinster and for Ireland. He has to go on this tour. And I'm going to tell you once again, another player to start, Furlong has to start. The final prop is a bit of a controversial one, maybe sounding a little bit hypocritical when I'm saying this, but it's Mako Vunipola. Now, I was really struggling between him and Rory Sutherland. Really struggling. I think we're struggling in that department a little bit, but I have picked Mako. His experience on Lions Test, his scrummaging ability as well. That's going to be really important for us this year. So I think Mako goes into the squad. Only just, though. Only just. Let's get to my lock options. I've got 4 locks. A couple of them can play in different positions. But first of all, we got Alun Wyn Jones. Alun Wyn Jones of the Ospreys and Wales, of course, for me, will be captain of the tour. And I really expect him to lead from the front. Incredibly experienced with the Lions, experienced with Wales, experienced with the Ospreys, and a true gentleman of the game who will not only provide an incredible amount of ability on the pitch, off the pitch, he'll have a huge role. And he really just summarises what the Lions would want in a captain. I'd be very, very surprised if he wasn't captain, and he has to go for me on this tour. Alongside him, another player similar to Mako, who's not played all that much rugby, is Maro Itoje of Saracens and England. Started the Six Nations off really poorly, was playing too close to the line and crossing that line a lot of the time. But I think by the end, he worked out where his level was at and how he should be playing. There's no denying how good this guy could be. There's no denying that he has captain ability, and he could certainly be a Lions captain in the future, and certainly an England captain. But Maro Itoje, again, at the breakdown, at the driving wall, it's going to be integral to disrupting that South African pack, which is going to be so, so important. So Maro Itoje goes on the tour for me. 2 of the locks then, we're heading up to Scotland. We're chucking Johnny Gray in for Exeter and for Scotland. He had an injury during the Six Nations, but at the start of the Six Nations, I thought he was absolutely fantastic. And I really believe the move to Exeter has massively benefited his game. Brilliant option at the lineouts. Maybe not so comfortable in the loose as others, but certainly someone who will be a fantastic squad member for sure. And finally, the final lock in this position for me has to be James Ryan. Absolutely incredible for Leinster and Ireland this year, especially Leinster. Watched him over the last couple of weeks, playing in the Pro 14 and in Europe, and has been so, so good. Comfortable with ball in hand, good option at the line-out, a bit of a leader now as well, pretty experienced guy and a winner from his time at Leinster. The back row is a really tough one, obviously. It is a heck of a choice. There's so many good players in these positions, but we're going to go through them anyway and have a look and see who I would pick. First of all, someone who's been rumoured to not being in the squad is Josh Navidi. For me, Josh Navidi has to go. His work at the breakdown, his ability to get around the park and play that 18 minutes, the amount of work this guy gets through, the tackles, the turnovers and everything like that, he gets involved so much. Josh Navidi just has to be on the tour. He has to be on the tour. And although when he plays, you may not notice everything he does. When he doesn't play, you certainly notice he's not there. And that's something the Blues and Wales have found out over the last couple of years. Alongside him, someone who could very comfortably play in the locks, but can also play in the back row. But I'll put him in the back row. It's Byrne of Ireland, Munster and Ireland. Over the board, the Six Nations, I don't think there was anyone better than him. And if we can win the battle of the breakdown against this Lions side, then I truly believe we win this tour. He's going to be key to that. And also a fantastic option in the line-out. Our set piece needs to be good, because we know the Springboks set piece is going to be good, and they're going to build everything upon that set piece. So ours needs to be at their level, and I think he'll offer us that option in the scrum and line out. The big name, of course, for me is Hamish Watson. He has to go on this tour. Six Nations play the tournament. You can't ignore him. Rumours and talks and people saying he's too small. I think that's a load of rubbish, in my opinion. He's shown that he's very, very happy to get involved. He's very comfortable in the loose and a leader of that team now. And if you've got a mullet like that, you've got to go. One of the few shining lights for England is in the team. For me, it is Tom Curry, someone who played pretty well across these Six Nations, although not many people were talking about him. A year ago, you'd have thrown Underhill's name in there, but I don't think he gets in there now. Tom Curry, very young man, 24 years old, but certainly has a lot of growth, but is also a class operator. Again, the breakdown's going to be key. It's going to be so important. That back row battle is going to be so important, and I'll be very comfortable seeing him in that back row. 3 players to go then. Justin Tipwreck is the next one on the list. A year ago, if you'd have asked me, certainly no way was Tipwreck going, but I think he's been playing very, very well for Wales over the course of the Six Nations and for the Ospreys across the course of the season. The Ospreys having a bit of a renaissance of late. Again, in the loose, very comfortable. Would like to see him in a more attacking role than we have in the last few years, because I think that's his best role. He's been a little bit more attacking. But again, he puts in a heck of a shift and an option in the lineout. The final two players are interesting. The number 8 for me is Talupe Faletau. Faletau is a class operator. Every player who's played with him says he's a class operator. Comfortable with ball in hand, powerful, gets involved, always professional, never tends to get a yellow or anything like that. Penalty count is always super low against Faletau. He's been playing some of his best rugby recently as well for Bath and for Wales. There's no one else who can start at 8 or be in the squad. And the final 8, it's a controversial one. It's been rumoured that this guy is going to be in the squad. I've gone with Sam Simmons of Exeter. Now, he's played a couple of caps for England, but for some whatever reason, it's been ignored by Eddie Jones. But you can't ignore how good this guy's been playing. In a recent game against top of the table, Bristol, he was outstanding, playing some fantastic stuff. And what he's so good at, he's so comfortable with ball in hand, and he's got pace, something that South Africa might lack a little bit in that back row, something that we might have over them. You know, if he wants to offer a support line, he can keep up with the play. And he's also very comfortable getting involved physically. Scored plenty of tries this season for Exeter from number 8. He's got to be on the tour. So there we go. That's my 36-man squad. It's an interesting one. Is this team good enough to win the tour? Let me know in the comments down below. If you have enjoyed, smash that subscribe button, of course. On Thursday, we're going to be doing a live reaction to the squad being announced. We'll go live around 12 o'clock in the afternoon. So do join us for that. And there's going to be loads of coverage throughout the day. We're going to be doing podcasts. We're going to be doing reactions to the squad. And we're going to be building up towards the line as well. So make sure to subscribe if you're new. Hit the notification bell, like the video. And as I said before, get your team in the comments down below. Really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to watch this video. I'm excited for the Lions. I hope you are as well. And I'll see you on the next video here on BS Rugby. Take it easy, guys. Peace.